Here will be going once. And we're live. There we go. We're having another BizDev growth hacking workshop with Lisa Ring here. How are you doing, Lisa?
I'm doing great. It actually snows heavily in Stockholm right now, and I love skiing, so I'm so happy now. Feels great. I guess it's the opposite in El Salvador.
In El Salvador, it's humid, it's hot. I can't think. I need a shower constantly. I grew up in the Caribbean, but I'm not used to this. I'm still not used to this at all. Yes, and I'm very much looking forward for snowboarding this year as well. I'm surprised that it's snowing already, though. This kind of early.
Yeah, it's kind of early. So the whole town was sort of shut down yesterday because everyone was shocked. So that happens every year.
Well, I guess these kind of slow days are typically bad for business and growth, but you're going to be
still hacking.
But you're gonna be telling us, giving us some advice and stuff. Could you give us a little rundown of what today's session is gonna look like?
Yeah, so the last session we had, it was more about discovering the problem and trying to figure out what values we are trying to create for the user. And we're gonna sort of build on that further. And today we're gonna discuss how can we create the first minimum viable product from all these insights, and also discuss a bit about who the user or who the first users are. So we're gonna move further through the development process and discuss those things today.
Awesome. And we have a couple guests with us as well. So could you tell us about them and how they're going to be incorporated into the workshop?
Yeah, definitely. So we have Rene. He will participate. He is here now. Perfect. And he is also a part of this tournament that Bolt.fun hosts. And his project, LightSats, will be sort of the demo project that we are going to use today for the workshop. So I will talk a little bit about the background, about what we are doing, and then we will hop over to the workshop part where Rene and we together can. We're going to try to figure out how LightSats as a project can work with these things, but hopefully also inspire everyone else here on how to think about these things in business development and how you can work with it practically.
I think we also have Juan Gomez, who's on the LightSats teams. Hey there, Juan.
What's up, everyone? How are you guys?
Nice, Juan. Nice to see you.
I think it's our first time seeing you on video.
Exactly, yeah. Nice to see you all. So I got Sebastian, my little one, he's napping right now, so he gave me time. So if he wakes up from his nap, then I might have to drop off. Or maybe he can make a presence in the workshop as well.
That's perfect. You always need different perspectives when you do BizDev. So
exactly, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. He's going to be doing user testing for sure.
Perfect. It's baby proof. You're up.
Yeah.
Hey, John. So I heard that you wanted to snowboard. So whenever you want to go, let me know. I'm a diehard fan. Been snowboarding for like 15 years. So anytime you want to go, let me know.
I've only gone like 2 seasons. Okay, I've only had 2 seasons under my belt. So
no worries. That's awesome.
All right. We got the Grape in the audience, giving you guys a shout out. Hey, Grape.
Yeah, shout out. Shout out to the Grape.
Shout out. I'm guys, I really love seeing the community coming together like this. So I'm gonna take a little step back. You guys will have the stage. And Maya's in here too. What else here? Maya Ring?
Great.
Wait, you related?
We are sisters.
Anyway, I'm gonna take a step back. Let you guys do your thing.
Perfect.
Okay. Hey there, Maya.
Nice.
Right,
okay. I don't know if you if you saw the last workshop, but I will start sharing my screen, and I will see if this works.
Yeah, I watched the last one that you did with Porto and GetCash. It was very
Nice.
very well structured. I really enjoyed it. So thank you so much for the time that you've taken. Obviously,
Oh,
you
great.
and Maya as well. I know that you girls have done a really good job in the mirror board.
Yes, we love mirror boarding, but we
That's
also love
awesome.
workshopping. So yeah, so we have also prepared some things for you today. And I will sort of start with just doing a small recap from what we did last time, because we're going to sort of use some of those insights for the workshop today. You can see my screen, or maybe you're just in the Miro board. Yes, I can see you are there.
Yep,
Perfect.
I'm there.
Yeah, so last workshop we talked about the problem definition and value proposition, and I know that Lightsats has come very far with your development process. So I think we will be fine to just hop on directly to the second workshop with your project, and
Perfect.
we're gonna talk about getting ready to go to market. I named it, and we're gonna discuss what the MVP should be like, and what assumption we want to test and confirm on the market with our MVP. And we will also later go on and discuss who the early adopter might be. And if we have time, I hope that we can just shortly discuss how we can work with business roadmaps. So that's last time we did a lot of I had quite a bit of walkthroughs with you, but today I only have one thing I want to start with here, and that is to just shortly describe what a go-to-market strategy is. And when you are building something and you want to launch it on the market, there are so many things you have to keep in mind. But I have sort of highlighted some of the most important things, or like the high level things you need to think about. And first, we need to discuss what is your offering on the market. And during the first workshop, we discussed what values we want to deliver on the market. And that's very important, of course. And today we will start to talk about the products and services and our minimum viable product. Then we need to know who the target customer is. And we will discuss early adopters, because most of the projects here are just in the beginning of their journey. So most will start to think about early adopters. And finally, you need to know how you will reach this audience that you have targeted. And that will be mainly covered during the third workshop, when we discuss branding, marketing. Maybe also we have time to discuss positioning and how we can position ourselves among competitors. So I will just find the way down here to the second one. And it's going to be the same as we did last time. I have made some instructions or introduction here on the black frame, and we're going to do the workshopping part here on the purple one. So this purple is all yours to the Lightsats project. Do you have any questions so far?
So far, so good.
So far,
on my side.
Oh, great, perfect. Okay, and I'm gonna try to keep an eye on the chat if anyone watching this has a comment. So please just hit me with questions, or Lightsats guys, hit them with questions as well.
Our other team member is in Thailand, so definitely way too late for him right now.
Okay.
Which is Roland. Yeah, shout out to Roland.
Oh yes, shout out to Roland.
Yeah.
Sleeping.
Yeah.
All right, but I think we just should get going, because we have no time to lose.
Perfect.
So the first thing you have to think about when you're trying to launch a product on the market is that what answers do we seek from the market? Because when you are launching something, you want to learn from that. You want to learn from it so you can build something better in the future. And that's very, very important. So we need to know what assumptions we want to test. And I have built this black frame around our Get-in project, and we are building a sign-in application. And I will keep it very simple, and kind of high level, these examples. And we want to test assumptions. And one of these could be that we assume that users, they want to reduce the cognitive load when using a login service. And we also want to validate problems with our MVP. And our problem is that it's problematic for users to remember passwords. So we want to validate that this is true. And then on the value creation side, we want to test if predictability or consistency is an important thing for login services. And also these things that they want to have this cognitive relief, they want to have a simple and easy login and registration process. So I think we should start with just trying to find what assumptions Lightsats need to test on the market, and also what problems you want to validate that, yeah, this is actually a problem for real users, and also make sure that you actually create value while you are out there. Okay, was it? Do you have any questions, or do you want to hop right into it?
I think I'm good to hop right into it. I don't know, Rene, do you have a question?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. So if we start with the I think we could start with the problem, actually, because this is often related to later on the assumptions we need to test. So if you think about the problem you're trying to solve, how can we validate that, and what problems should we validate with our first product?
So I think well, the main problem right now is I guess we'll start with like the target, like the target user, where everything like the journey starts. So the main problem right now that for a Bitcoiner is extremely extremely hard and sometimes expensive to onboard a new user into Bitcoin. And then the reason why I say hard is just you have to ask them and teach them how to download a wallet. And then I say expensive because often when we're giving Bitcoin to someone new, we usually try to give a little bit of a higher amount, because we wouldn't send them like 1,000 sats, or like we want to make it worthwhile for them. But the problem is that if that user does not find the initiative of like going on their own and learning about it, that Bitcoin is going to be lost forever if they don't back up their wallet and they don't go out of their way. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So sort of finding incentives, or there must be enough incentives for the user to actually get onboarded.
Correct. Yeah. Enough incentives, and maybe just a very easy experience for them, and kind of like a self onboarding guide that they can easily follow through, just to at least get the basics and lay the ground from there. Yeah. So
it's I would just write difficult to get onboarded. So you want to make it easier to get onboarded for users.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. Yeah. So this is it's very interesting, because the first problem here, it's more for the sender.
Yes.
Am I saying this right now?
Yeah. So
exactly. So maybe just give a short explanation of your service before we dig in deeper into this.
Yeah. I guess it was it's perfect time to just kind of let everyone know. So basically, I mean, just a quick background. Like it all started from Brad Mills, who's an OG in the Bitcoin community. He tweeted, if anyone was building a solution where he could easily tip Bitcoin or gift Bitcoin to someone, where he doesn't have to onboard the person, he doesn't want to teach how to download a wallet, and then be able to recover those sats in case the user just never seems to be interested, right? So that is what we're trying to solve. So that's why the journey usually starts from a Bitcoiner side, because the Bitcoiner is the one sending the tip out to someone that receives it. And obviously the goal is to tip someone that has not had that experience or hasn't been exposed to Bitcoin, and then just make it a very easy onboarding experience for them. Because a lot of people left comments on the tweet like, oh, there's a lot of these other services which are really amazing services, but it's all for Bitcoiners. Like it is not for like a regular user or someone that is has not been exposed to it.
Exactly. Okay, great. That was a great explanation of your project. So the user experience, I guess, is a very important thing here. A value you want to create. You want to create like, a good user experience. I will just write UX for onboarding.
I think John's had a question, to be more specific.
Oh yeah, that's smart, because you should. Okay, so feel free also to you yourself type in these small post-its. I think it's easier if you who are experts of your own project to type in here. So yeah, it's very important to have a good user experience for the onboarding. You want to make it easier. You want to make it, I guess, lower the barriers to get onboarded.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. And since you also have the sender side, what kind of values do you want to create for the sender?
Yeah, I mean that's a good thing that you brought it up. So we pretty much like streamlined it in a full like onboarding experience with different conversion points, where if I create a tip, let's say I'm at a restaurant and I want to tip the waitress or the waiter, I'll load the tip. It will generate a QR code. The waiter or the waitress will scan a QR code. It will take them to a simple landing page saying you have received $10. We always want to lead with the fiat denomination so they can make a better connection with it. And then the user will claim the tip, and through that whole process, we let the sender know where the user is on their user journey. So that way they have like somewhat like of an anticipation of how their journey is going, and if they finally download a wallet and withdraw their sats, then they know that their mission has been accomplished.
Exactly. So yeah, so you sort of follow the process, and you know what you will get confirmation when the receiver has claimed their tips.
Correct. Yeah. I think on our team we usually label them like a tipper or a TP. That's kind of like,
oh yeah, smart tipper and a TP. Okay, I will start using it. I'll try. Okay, so can you just write something down that you feel that okay, this is the value for the tipper. No, yeah, tipper. And I will just add a small note here, because you are trying to sort of make it possible for the tippee, the user, the receiver, to sort of delay the process of onboarding, because probably that person is in quite a stressful situation, maybe serving people at the restaurant, and they don't have time to get the wallet and everything set up in the moment. So I guess that your service helps the person delayed that process.
Yeah, actually, that's something that we spoke about, kind of like
Yeah,
we were trying to label it kind of like a delayed onboarding experience, and then also it's a delayed self onboarding experience, because the TP, like the TP is onboarding like they're onboarding themselves into like Bitcoin and Lightning, right? We take them through a series of steps. We provide suggestions on which Lightning wallet they can download, and then we integrated LN URL withdrawal, where they can just click a button and then it'll automatically open up their wallet just to withdraw their sats.
Right. So and that's that sort of specifies what this good UX for onboarding can mean. So it's about like getting into a less stressful situation where you probably feel more safe and calm, and you probably can feel that, okay, I can do this without any disturbances. So I think that's a very good value that you can focus on, or this could be a great value that you sort of moves the process to a situation where the user is more open for doing this.
And more receptive as well too. Hopefully,
exactly. Exactly.
Whenever they have some downtime and they have a little bit, because we're also building out user guides, so we don't want to just leave the user with downloading a wallet and withdrawing the sats without letting them some kind of guidance of like what is it that they can do. So we have a guide for the user to follow through it. They want to spend their Bitcoin, or if they want to buy, they want to earn, if they want to donate, and so on.
All right. So and see a full user journey. Yeah. Okay. I think we have a lot of values that you want to create, and that's fantastic. And I always say that you should definitely dream big, and this will be very interesting when we get down to the MVP part, and we'll discuss what to prioritize and maybe what to do later. But I think we will just hop on to the assumptions before we need to go ahead to the next section. And some of these are there any assumptions from these that you know that, okay, with our first product we need to validate that this assumption is true?
I think that one would probably be like the difficult to get onboarded. It'd probably be kind of like an assumption that we would need to validate.
Yeah. And also validate maybe what is difficult in onboarding processes. Maybe like specify it more.
So, okay, maybe I'll just expand a little bit more. And then John said to be a little bit more specific. So I think maybe the onboarding, so the onboarding part, I think what makes it difficult is the follow through, right? Because in reality, it is easy to have someone download a wallet from the app, like the App Store. You can easily send them sats, but I think it's what happens after that. Because as of right now, when majority of Bitcoiners give Bitcoin to someone, they send it to their wallet, and it just sits there, and they don't really have any guidance or anywhere that they can follow through, like on the possibilities of it.
Right. So I just added like that the user journey sort of stops after downloading a wallet. That could be like an assumption that it's probably very, very important to know the answer to this. And that needs to be tested, I think. Okay. We could probably just, this is also just, this is not all the right answers, of course. So you of course need to work further on this. But I think we got a very good introduction to how we can very fast like do an overview and think about these things before we go into how the product should actually be. So I think I will just move on here, and the next thing we will discuss is what features are essential to test the assumptions and validate the problems we just highlighted, and also create the desired values. And I will also just give a brief explanation of this figure. I really like this because it's very simple, but it says a lot. It's called the Kano model, and it sort of says how different features gives value to the customer or the user. And there are some basic features or functionality that are so-called must-haves. If we don't have them, the satisfaction will be very low. But if we have them, since they are like expected, the satisfaction will not be like huge, but yeah, it's like, then we are even Steven here. Then we have the performance or more is better features. And these are things that if we add them, yeah, they add satisfaction equally. So it could be like, yeah, we're adding more features and that makes the whole experience a bit better. But finally, we also have the extras or the delighters. And those are features that if we add them, they give a lot of satisfaction to the user because they are not expected to be there. And if we can find these delighters that are realistic to build and cheap, and we can do it in the set time frame, we should probably do it because it gives high value to the user. Mm-hmm. And I call them low-hanging fruit, so that's why there's an apple here.
That's awesome.
So this is just an intro to how you can sort of categorize different features. And when you're trying to also decide what to do and what not to do, because that's very important, I often use this must, should, could, won't framework. And first, you stress what are the must-haves, what are the basics. So in this example with the Get-In app, we need it to be passwordless. Otherwise, it doesn't mean anything to the user. It's sort of worthless. We need it to be passwordless because that's the whole point of it from the start. Then we have should-haves, and those are things that actually could give a lot of value to the user, but maybe we can't really deliver it right now, but we can give the same value but in another way. So they are not quite as important as the must-haves. And for us, it's to have this simple UI because the cognitive load is very important for us to test. And it's also related to a lot of the values that we have identified as important. If we go to the could-haves, these are things that, yeah, we could have them and they could bring values, but they are less essential and we could probably do it later. But if we think about these low-hanging fruits here, if we could make it possible to use our sign-in application on our website, maybe we can increase the understanding of the user, and by doing that, giving them cognitive relief. So this could be, maybe it's not too difficult to implement, and it could be a low-hanging fruit that actually gives this extra value or feeling of, oh, this was an extra nice feature of our service. Then we have these won'ts, and these are very, very difficult to it hurts when you're trying to move a post-it down to this area because you want to do everything, and we are in this, everything at once. But those things that you put here, you're just like, you can do it later. It's nothing that you don't. That you will never do it, but you shouldn't focus on it right now because it doesn't give enough value in comparison to what resources it takes to do it, etc., and time, etc. So, for instance, being able to choose what user data to share, we are not going to have that in our MVP, but it's a feature that's going to be very important for us in coming versions. So before we get into LightSat's must, should, could, and won'ts, we can just look at these questions briefly. When you do this, you can just think about, do we deliver the desired value? Does it help us to answer the important questions? Does this feature helps us to answer the important questions? And also, is it possible and realistic to build? So keep these in mind, and we will hop over to LightSat's frame here. All right, so should we start with the must-haves? What are the most important features of your service that we cannot be without? It must be in place for the MVP.
I think one of the main one is being able to send sats to someone.
Definitely. Just fill that in if you in the post-it there, yeah.
Also, Renee, feel free to chime in. I feel
Sure.
We can make these a bit smaller,
Yeah,
so we can just we can have more of these here. We can also make them smaller. You would probably have a lot of things here. Being able to send. What else?
The other one is being able to recover sats. You can
Maybe also having some basic onboarding ready, like at least some stuff they could do.
for the receiving side, yeah. Yeah, because I think, well, I guess that's one of the challenging things, because we do have two different types of users, right? So we obviously want to make sure we take care of both sides, right? Because they each complement each other, right? Without both type of users, the app wouldn't really work.
Definitely. Yeah, we also in our project have like this two-sided platform design of the project. So yeah, that's very important that you need to recognize that you give value to both sides. If that's like the strategy we have here. Yeah, so some basic onboarding for the TP. And here, if we think about must-haves, I think that this could be like, okay, you really need to get instructions of how to use your service. But when we discuss things like, okay, how after you've received the tips, what do you do with it? Maybe that's not a must-have for this MVP. So, yeah. So maybe we could put that maybe on should or could have
Sure.
some of them. Exactly. But still, yeah, still some information, of course, for the, yeah, you need to be able to know what to do. Exactly. Basically, perfect.
But then maybe I'm gonna add being able to send and receive. I guess they will.
Yeah.
They will tackle
Definitely.
both.
Yeah, definitely. You can just duplicate one of the notes if you want to write another one.
Okay.
Control D, I can do it for you. I can put a few notes over here. You can just drag them in. Exactly. No questions, correct. So, because there are, when I actually tried your service today, and you have come very far, and you have done a lot, and it's really impressive. So I know that you have already like made a lot of these things, but theoretically, some of the features, they are not like essential for the service to actually work. So if we think about like what are less essential, we can also just for us, for what do you say, the purpose of educating, or educating others who are here. We can just come up with a couple of features that you have right now, but that may not be super essential for the service to actually work.
Yeah, I guess the scoreboard would be one, because it's not essential for the service to work, but still it's quite cool, I think.
The scoreboard,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. I think another one on the code, I guess we could add is the user, what is it? User update on their journey.
Oh, yeah, right. For the sender, for the tipper.
Correct. For
yeah, right.
tipper. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Because that function, it's related to the value of sort of being able to recover SaaS if they are not claimed, because you sort of want to know if you should recover them or not. But yeah, it's one of these delighters. It's an extra, absolutely, because if you have the must-have here is this being able to actually recover them, and this update is more like an extra. Yeah, definitely. That's good.
Maybe also notifications that help jump tippies into this flow again.
Definitely. Yes. And do you have a feature, because you are during the user journey, you sort of need to download a Lightning Wallet and use that. So you sort of send the user into another service, another space that you are not in control of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think it's very important that you when you have send the user away, you sort of also have a way of reconnecting it to your service. I don't really know how to write it down, but it could be like a should have, that it's a seamless journey, and that you make sure that the user gets back after being
so hold on, seamless wallet download journey.
Yeah, exactly. So you sort of integrate it with your process somehow. I think that could be. It's probably important. You could probably, it's not a must-have, but it could be a should-have. That it's very important, but right now you may not focus on it. Yeah. Exactly. All right. I think this works. There are probably so much more to do here, but if we go down to the won't, so we just keep the time here. The won'ts. Do we have something that you don't need to do for your MVP, but you might do it later, but it's not essential, it's not important, it doesn't give that much value because it probably costs you too much? Do you have something here you want to add?
There was we had the idea of doing like third party APIs for other companies.
Yeah.
To be able to use our service.
Exactly.
Oh, that's a good one.
One idea we also had was having some kind of a chat where you could interact with your tippy, but
Yeah.
we decided we won't add that because it's just too much right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a very good example also for this workshop, because it's probably something that could give a lot of delight, the extra here, because many of the users are probably in need of a lot of support, maybe because it's the first time they are doing something, and etc. etc. So I think it could be adding a lot of value, but I also think it's too advanced for a minimum viable product. So yeah, great choice. All right, so I think this shows how we can work with like defining the most critical features and then working the way down to these things that we actually not gonna do right now. All right, so any thoughts from you guys before we move on?
I think that's good. This is really,
Yeah.
I really like the way you've laid everything out. It makes it very clear.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I hope, because that's one of my goals here, to show that it doesn't have to be very advanced before you actually get a lot of things out from it. So yeah, I hope to inspire people to just start growth hacking, and it doesn't have to be that advanced. And you can also later on, if you want to, you can use these fruits and see if we can find these low-hanging fruit that I was talking about. But I think we need to move on to the next part here. And for this part, we will discuss who the early adopters of our services are. And this is a very old model, but it's been used for ages, and it actually works still to this date. It's a bell curve over the technology adoption among users. And I think I can speak for all our projects that, we are in this part of the curve. We are the tech enthusiasts, and I think most projects in the Bolt.fun tournament, I think we are here. This is us. And these are people who, we really like innovation and tech, and we're very deep into the tech. But our early adopters, they are often called the visionaries, and I will describe them more later, just in a second. But then when we're moving to this part, and here is the mainstream market, the large market that we eventually want to reach. And there is a famous gap here between these two customer groups. And that's because the visionaries, their buyer behavior is very different from the pragmatists on this market. So I will just discuss or talk more about this before we get into the workshopping part. And the early adopters, this is what we will focus on today. And here I just wrote down some characteristics of these persons. They are often tech interested, and they are often they are exploring, and they might find new use cases for a certain technology. So that will help you a lot if you find these people. They also want to be the first to test new things, and often it's because it makes them feel good or cool, or they get social status from it. And the early adopters, they are also fine with the risks that are related to beta products and products that crash and doesn't work from time to time. So they're kind of easy to please when you are a tech startup and you have a lot of beta versions going on. But then when we go over to the early majority, when we want to grow our business, we have a completely different set of needs. These people, they look for whole and complete solutions. They don't just want to have one feature. They want to have a seamless solution. they also want the solution or the offering that they're buying to be proven by others, and they want to have like reference cases. They want to see that others have been using this, and yeah, it works fine. So it's very important I just want to highlight that when we grow further, we really need to rethink our business strategies. So what we do now, and when we try to find the early adopters, it will be super important for the first MVP and maybe a couple of versions more. But when we need to make this leap over the chasm, we need to rethink everything: the business strategies, how we market, how we deliver value with our offerings, etc., etc. So this is just to really highlight that business development is a very iterative process. And if we just look at our example here, to make it just easy, I have just highlighted that you can think about situations that your early adopters are in or surrounded by, and also then who they actually are. So for us in the Get In team, we are just trying to find situations that makes it easier for the adopter to actually use our service. So we don't want to have a situation where safety is critical. We don't want to implement this where there's a high need for extensive user data. And we also want to have a situation where the people, they are familiar with Lightning. So these are like circumstances that we think could benefit our launch on the market. And these are also just some examples. So for who could this be? It could be users that use Lightning today. And maybe to narrow it down, in the gaming community, we don't have like this extensive user data need, nor is it safety critical. So yeah, by thinking about these two things, one can sort of narrow things down and try to find these niche that we want to target as our early adopters. And you should think about the MVP for this. Who will be the user of our MVP? All right. So I see that you have hopped over to your part here. So could we find any situations or circumstances that you think is important to be in place for the early adopters of LightSats?
So for early adopters, I think definitely it has to be coming from like the Bitcoiner side. Like they have to be Bitcoiners.
Yeah.
And then on the person who's receiving it, obviously it just has to be someone who would be willing to take that leap of faith. Because I've tried it. So I tried it at a restaurant, and then I order a drink at the bar, and I asked the bartender if he would accept a tip in Bitcoin. And then just immediately he's like, no, he's like, I don't want it. And obviously I wanted to try and understand what was the reason, but I think it's just because it's such a like foreign object, like a subject for some people that it's just a little bit intimidating.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's very interesting. It makes me think about also who to target, because as we discussed earlier, that you have this two-sided platform, you both have the senders and the receivers, and it's also important to think, okay, who is beneficial to target the most initially? Is it better to target the sending person and focus a lot of trying to gather a lot of senders, or should you try to target the receivers, try to get, I don't know, people at restaurants, try to get them into using these? So I don't have an answer, but I think it's interesting to just discuss
Yeah,
who
well,
you are targeting.
in our case, it has to be 100% on the ascending side, on the tipper
Yeah.
side. Yeah,
Yeah.
because if a receiver like a tippy signs up to LightSats, the first thing that they see is create a tip, but they don't know, they don't have a wallet, they're not aware of Bitcoin, so there's really nowhere that they can
Mm.
go.
Mm.
The only way for a tippy to go into, I guess, our into our system or into our flow is through a receiving side.
Yeah.
And
Right.
the whole goal for us is being able to convert a person that receives Bitcoin. Maybe we'll just get them through the front door again and then turn them into a tipper. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting, and I think you're right, because right now, as your service, as it looks like today, I think it's for like the sender. But it's also interesting for the future, if you struggle with like getting people on board, maybe you could like switch the focus and see, okay, could we build the same function? Could we create the same value, but maybe from the other side? But it's very high level, and it's just a thought, but it makes you. I just want to show that when thinking about like the market strategies here, it also adds input to how we should develop our products. So yeah, it's very interesting. It's very interesting to have these two-sided platforms. It's tricky for sure. But I also know in the beginning we discussed that, okay, people need to have like the right amount of incentive, and I was thinking about like different amount of money. Maybe you have like maybe you could narrow it down and say that, okay, it probably will only work when we have $20 and up. I don't know, tips that's worth $20 and more. So maybe the worth, the amount, you don't say amount, but the tipping amount, that could maybe be a circumstance that's very important when you think about, okay, who will be incentivized enough to actually use this.
Take action. Yeah.
So that could be like an interesting circumstance, maybe. Yeah, okay. And you have discussed restaurants and hair cutting, and I have you any other thoughts about where you can find these early adopters?
I think it's just any person of service, I guess, because I know, like, for at least a friend of mine, he tested also with his valet parking in Miami. In Miami, all the buildings, they have valet parking. Is like you can't even park your car yourself. You have to get someone to park it for you, and then usually you have to always give them a tip. And then he's like, I never carry cash. He's like, I'm gonna onboard the valet parking, so I onboard them, like I onboard him once on LightSat, and then once he has his wallet, then I can continue tipping him straight to his wallet.
Yeah, and I think it's very interesting, because if I don't really know how that exactly parking works, but one can also think that maybe it's easier to onboard someone that you have some sort of personal relation to. Maybe you see that person every day when you park your car, or you see it every third month because you go and cut your hair there, or you have Sunday dinner at the same place every time. So maybe like personal relations could actually be a very important factor when you try to find these
that's actually that's a good thing that you bring it up, because I there's a local coffee shop that I pretty much go there almost every day and get my coffee. I still haven't tried it, but I think that's probably one of the exercises that I'm gonna try is and see if any of the cashiers would be open to it. I'll onboard them the first time on LightSat, and then moving forward, then I can always, like, because the awesome thing about it is that, I mean, even if you're tipping $1 or $2, you can do it without any issues via Lightning.
Yeah,
there's no minimum threshold.
And I think it's I think it's very interesting, and that also, if we go back to these must, should, could, won'ts, I like this chat ID because that could be something that's very important. If you find this like this personal relation circumstance very important, the chat function may actually be a very important feature to try to implement sooner. So this, I just also want to show that when you think about these things, you need to go back and iterate and try to see, okay, how does this affect our next version actually? So yeah, we are soon running out of time, so I would just leave it here. I think it was it was really interesting discussions, and I hope all the others who are listening also find it interesting. And just actually for the final part here, I didn't plan us to do actually a lot of workshopping together. I just wanted to give some tips, and I hope you will like this. I find it very, very nice to have like a high-level overview of our business, like make a roadmap of where are we today and where do we want to go and how can we get there. And this is kind of a tool where you can plan and also prioritize what you want to do and what you're not gonna do right now, and also all the time keeping track of where you are and see if you are on track. And when you have this roadmap, you can always like ask yourself, okay, because you're gonna have your vision in the end, and you will set intermediate goals all the way, and you can also always go back to the roadmap and ask, okay, is this activities, it's going to take us closer towards this goal and in the end towards our vision. And if you continuously just keep asking yourself that question, it will definitely help you to keep track and keep this sharp focus towards the vision. It's also important because you want to be fit for future scalability. You want to have that in mind all the time, that, okay, if we do this now, does it make it easier for us to scale our business later, or will we only create problems for ourselves? And also by doing this roadmap, I think it's a good way to see if we have a realistic plan. I really like stretch goals, and I think you should set stretch goals, but you also need them to be realistic and actually reachable. So this is just like a visual example of how to do this. You can do it in thousands of different ways, but I like to just have different time frames or time sets here, short, mid, long term maybe, and then in the other acts here you just put, okay, what are we gonna develop with the product service, how is our market strategy today, how will it be in 6 months, 1 year, etc. And I also like to forecast and backcast all the time with these kinds of tools, and also this business model canvas that I showed last workshop. You can like fill these in for every intermediate step, like, okay, the version 2, how does the business model look like for version 2, and etc. etc. So yeah, we are here right now. We have built the MVP. We should define the target markets, customers. Next workshop, we're going to talk about branding and messaging, etc. And you can really like make a high-level roadmap, and I'm sure it will help you to keep track and stay focused and reach your goals ahead. And as a final note, I just want to say
like
that it's very important to decide what to do, but it's actually equally important to decide what not to do, at least what not to do right now. So yeah, by that, I think the time's up. And that was actually everything for today. And because this takes so much more time to do, so but I just encourage you to actually do a roadmap over your business. Do you have any final questions?
No, I think I wanted to. I mean, just really quick, I wanted to answer the Grape's question that he had about the 2FA, the two-factor authentication, and then I think that is it was the simplest way to onboard someone new to Bitcoin. We tried because I tried the email, but a lot of people were opening up their email on their, like, for example, the Outlook app, and then some of the features wouldn't work, like the LN URL withdrawal. So we thought it was an SMS was a very quick way of onboarding someone. So especially if someone, let's say, is working at a restaurant and then you're giving them a tip, they don't have much time to like fill out a form. Like they could just add their phone number and then the text message will be sent, and then they can authenticate whenever they want. So that's kind of like what we had in mind. But I'll follow up with him. With
That's great.
Yeah,
I really like this community where it's always good to get questions. So yeah, perfect.
absolutely.
All right. So thank you so much for participating. It was great, and it was super fun to dig deeper into LightSats. You have so many things going on, and it's really interesting. I really like your work. So
Thank you.
Keep it up.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks
Kudos
very much, Lisa.
to Renee
Thank
and
you,
Rolex.
guys.
They've done a really amazing job on the development side.
Yeah, I can tell. It's great. It's fantastic. All right, so
Thank
I think
you,
we're
Lisa.
just running up here. I don't know if John's in to say hello, but yeah.
He's probably eating pupusas.
Yeah, true. Okay, take care, guys, and I hope to see you on the last workshop as well. There's John.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Hey there, guys.
John, did you participate in the eating pupusa competition? Ed was
No,
telling me
no.
someone ate like 25 of them.
No, it's not. No, it's not possible for me to eat that many pupusas. Maybe one or two I could go with. By the way, guys, there's some questions there I just saw came in the last 5 minutes. Have you addressed them yet?
Yeah. I think. Well, I just the one from the Grape about the two-factor authentication.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So yeah, guys, really fantastic work. I am actually starting to go. So I might get some pupusas. But yeah, really fantastic work. We've been trying out some of these apps on the ground with some local people and also some Bitcoiners as well. So hopefully that helps with the little, numbers going up, growth hacking stuff. I don't know if it counts as that.
That's
But
awesome.
Yeah. By the way, we just crossed our 500 users.
500 users.
Yeah,
That is
we have
insane.
500 and
Nice.
something users.
That is
That's
insane. That is wild.
I've been working hard, like making a lot of noise everywhere. So it's been fun.
That's
But that's
great.
what it's about, right? That's what's getting more people using these tools, and it's all about adoption at the end of the day. We need to get more people using
Definitely.
Bitcoin. I really enjoyed. I saw one post. I can't remember the project. Ed, what was the project? Which I'm here with Ed, by the way. He's
Great, hi, Ed.
Yeah.
Oh, the lightning address to email one. I thought that was like an amazing concept.
Oren, yeah, Oren.
Like if these things get merged up together, like wow, it just kind of blew my mind. Basically, a lightning address to email basically converts your email address into like a lightning address, basically, right? And then now if that can also be used for something like LightSats, it could be like such a great onboarding tool. If like for the person to actually be able to withdraw those funds, and yeah, I just thought it was a super cool concept. But yeah, you guys are doing awesome work. Lisa, thank you again for this workshop. We have another one upcoming, right?
Yes, a third one, and then I will be accompanied by Brian. So, and he's an expert in marketing and branding. So I am looking forward to that a lot because that's not where I am the sharpest.
I
So
was
yeah,
I was able
would be
to
great.
connect with him earlier this week. So very nice guy. He gave me a very cool marketing initiative to try and do a Thanksgiving campaign. So here in the U.S., Bitcoiners can onboard their families while they're having like their Thanksgiving dinner, and I'm like, okay, maybe what I could probably do is have one user or the Bitcoiner send it to one person, and that person onboards the next, and then just do kind of like a little chain within their group of families. So I'm gonna be working on drafting a project for that.
Someone told me recently that they're banned from talking about Bitcoin at Thanksgiving. So,
Maybe that's best.
So
It never works.
So that might be well, actually, LightSat solves that problem because you don't have to talk about
Exactly.
Bitcoin. Say, hey, here's a link. Go like the conversation then can be very small, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can just you can put the QR code on the TV, and then whoever claims it first wins the prize.
I love it. Ooh,
Yeah.
That's true.
that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, enjoy your Sunday. Take
Thank
care.
you, guys.
And
Same.
Lisa, thank you so much. You're doing fantastic work, and looking forward to the next workshop.
Perfect. See you guys.
Thank you so much.
Take care, everybody.
Awesome.
Happy
Thanks so
Sunday.
much. Bye, guys.
Happy
Take
Sunday.
care.